All right, just for the cuteness levels, I've included this little dog, Oliver. Isn't he cute? So I've had a lot of people ask me how to use the D500 for video, not for pictures, but for video. And it's a great camera for video because it does 4K. Ooh, 4K, super, super good resolution.
Here are a few quick examples just to demonstrate the amazing video quality of the D500. These were all shot in 4K and downsampled to 1080p for this video. They were shot over the course of several days with different lighting conditions using different lenses.
But when it does 4K, it crops the picture quite a bit and narrows the field of view. I'll give you a demonstration of what that means here in a little bit. But first, I'm going to show you how I set up the D500 to shoot video, and then we'll go outside and get some footage on how to actually use it in focus because it can be a little bit tricky. So the first thing is you have to turn it on. And once you get it on, you want to go into the menu. And you do that by pressing this little menu button right here. Boop. Now, if at any point you're in the menu system and you're lost and you feel you got to panic and you don't want anything to save and you should get out, if you touch the shutter button up top, just barely touch it, the whole menu system will shut off. So that's like a fail safe. It's like, okay, great, now I'm good. I didn't mess anything up. And then you can press menu and come right back. So that's kind of like a help me, I'm stuck, just get out of the menu real quick thing. So we want to be in the camera icon. Right now it's in the playback menu, so I press to the left, and now I need to access this system here, these menus. You press down, down, and now I'm in the movie shooting menu. And then I press to the right to start accessing all of this stuff. So some of it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to reset any settings right now because I like everything the way it is. File naming is the prefix for the actual movie files, DSC. I just leave that how it is. Destination is where the movies are going to actually be stored. I have mine going to the SD card, not the XQD card. I have all my images going to the XQD card, and then the movies go to the SD card. That way I can keep them separate. This is the important part here. The frame size, frame rate. This is where you actually choose the resolution of the video. So once you're on this selection, you go to the right. And right now it's set at 3840 by 2160 30p. So that's 4K at 30 frames per second. If you want the cinematic look, that's 4K at 24 frames per second. If you want to do like something that was slow motion, I would suggest you do 1080p at 60 frames per second. And then you can half it to 30 frames per second in your post-processing software and get that real cool cinematic slow motion stuff. So this is where you make your selections for the actual resolution or quality of the video. So I like to do 4K just because it's so much more detail. And I've even noticed that if I shoot 4K and downsample it to 1080p, it looks better than if I would have just recorded 1080p. So the only loss though is, again, 4K crops, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I like to shoot 4K and then downsample to 1080p because for me it looks better.
This was recorded in 1080p. Notice the wide field of view. This alligator was nice enough to pose for me. The next clip will go to 4K and you'll see how the field of view gets cropped. And here's the 4K clip. Notice how it gets cropped. This can be really good for wildlife video though, because it gets you a little bit closer.
And then you come back over here, the ISO sensitivity settings. I have mine on manual. I do manual ISO when I'm doing filming because it'll allow you to make some adjustments to exposure while you're filming. It's a little bit easier. White balance I have on auto for most of the stuff I do. Picture control is interesting. I have it set to mirror the photo settings, and I use vivid. And to see really what I'm doing on that, I just have sharpening at a level of 4, and that's it. Everything else is the same. You got manage picture control. I don't mess with anything there. High ISO noise reduction I have on normal. Flicker reduction I have on auto. Microphone sensitivity I have on auto. Frequency response is wide. When noise reduction is on. I'm not doing time lapse, but to be honest, I would suggest using like an external mic. If you don't have a shotgun mic or anything like that, I use this. And when you use this, it bypasses the mic on the camera, and it's cool because these like types of microphones mount right into the hot shoe, and you can screw them down. And then if you look over here on the side, there's a mic port, and if you plug this cable into the mic port until you hear the click, now I'll be using this mic instead. And it's a higher quality mic, you get a little bit better audio. For some things you might want a shotgun mic, like for people, because then it isolates just the people that you're talking to. So that's really important. That's how I set up the D500 to start shooting video. Now we'll go outside and get some footage and show you things like shutter speed, the aperture, and all that stuff. We're going to do that now. All right, let's record some video with this. First thing you got to do, of course, is you got to turn it on. And then you have to come over here to this button. Here, this switches from camera, images to video, and you do it like this, up or down. The little circle represents where it is. So right now it's in video mode, and then you press this LV for live view. All right, and you can see what you have in the shot. So here, the important thing is right now to look at is right here, the shutter speed. I have it at 1/60th of a second. That's because I'm filming 4K at 30 frames per second. You want the shutter speed to be twice the frame rate. So I'm doing 4K, 30 frames per second. My shutter speed is 1/60th of a second. If I was doing 1080p at 60 frames per second, I would want my shutter speed to be double the 60 frames per second, which would be 1/20th of a second. So that's just like the general rule. Your shutter speed should be double what the frame rate is, okay? I always use manual ISO for filming. I've already discussed that. And then aperture to taste, basically just for lighting or to create depth of field. You can change that as you see fit. But here's the important thing. Focusing with the D500. If you'll look here, I'm gonna go ahead and start recording my video. I have focused on this little flower in the foreground. So if I wanted to change focus to, say, this flower that's in the background, I just touch the screen where that flower is, and now I've got focus on that one. Say I wanted to come back to this one that was in the foreground. I touch the screen and I come back to that, and oh look, a bug has landed on there. That's pretty cool. Bonus shot. So that's the easiest way to focus with this, is by touching the screen. But it's not always accurate, and it doesn't always focus exactly where you want it to do. So there's another way that you can do focus. So in order to do that, you're basically going to be using your D500 just as you would for images. So you go over to image mode, and you turn off live view, and you use your viewfinder. I don't know if you can see up in this viewfinder or not. Yeah, you see the focus points? I'm going to focus on that flower, hopefully. Let's see. I'm going to have to go to single point real quick. Go back in there, let me see. I'm wanting to focus on the background. There we go. I got focus using my camera like I would for images, and then I turn off automatic focus on my lens or the camera body, and then I come back here to this switch, put it on video, live view, and start recording, and I should have perfect focus on that flower. But now, since I'm in manual, I can't go back and forth. To do that, I would have to use the actual ring on the camera. So that's how I like to do it. I'll do it one more time to show you. I'm turning off the video. I'm in image mode, just like I would use the image, and I come look into the viewfinder, and I find out what I want my focus on, say this little flower. I grab my focus. Let's see, make sure I got it. Yep, it looks good. And I switch my lens to manual focus, and then I switch this to video mode, live view, and then hit record and start recording. So that's the second way that you can focus with this. There's a third way, and this is how the professional Hollywood movie star video people do it. So I'm gonna stop recording. You're in video mode. I'm gonna go ahead and blur it out because I'm in manual focus. I'm gonna manually defocus this flower. And then you can use these buttons on the side here to actually zoom in with this back screen on whatever it is you're trying to focus on. So I'm zoomed in, and then you use the manual focus ring on the lens
to bring the subject in focus. Oh, that looks pretty sweet to me. And then you hit record. And now you're recording the manual focus that you just set. And I'll do that one more time. Turn it off. I'm gonna blur it out. So I have my image, I have, my shot lined up how I want. I know I want to focus right around here where this flower was. So I press this plus button to zoom in, and I'll zoom in one more time because that's pretty close. Maybe adjust just a little bit on my tripod. There we go. And then I use the manual ring on the camera to bring that flower into focus on the back screen to where it's a little too far. That looks pretty good. And then you hit record. And boom, you got a nice in focus shot using the D500 in 4K. I'm gonna leave this video with a nice shot of this duck because it's a black belly whistling duck, and black belly whistling ducks are really cool. There should be a little bumblebee in the upper left-hand corner. Go ahead and click on that and subscribe to my channel. I got a lot of videos planned. If you like the video, click the thumbs up. And always leave comments. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, questions, whatever. I'll do my best to answer any questions. And I love hearing what everybody thinks of the videos.